Okay, so good evening, everyone. So today our group will talk about text in multimedia, which is there are four questions that will be discussed among our group. The first one is name the 5 text element used in multimedia. Give a real world example for each. The second is what is the difference between a symbol and an icon? Give one example of each. The third is why is it harder to read large block of text on screen compared to printed material? And the last one is what two solution can you use when text is too long to fit on one screen? So before we begin our discussion, we would like to start with an introduction. So my name is Ling Xing Yan and my matrix number is 225933.
My name is Muhammad Fidos bin Ismail Nizal. It is number 215807.
My name is Golden Yun. My matrix number is 22590.
My name is Chai Yun Chen and my matrix number is 22560.
Okay, so we will start on the first discussion, which is the name the 5 text element used in multimedia and give a real world example for each.
Okay, let me start first. So, based on this question, 5 text elements, which I know is the first one is titles, the second one is manners, number 3, navigation, number 4, content, and the last one is links. So basically for the titles, the real example is the large heading at the top of a news article. While the manners for the real example is the file or the edit button at the top of a word processor. So what do you guys think about the another 3 examples in the world for navigation, content, and also the link? Lin, can you give me the real example for navigation?
Okay, so in my opinion, the navigation is a next and a back button in the text so that we're able to use it for people to actually scroll to the back of the PPT or the next slide of the PPT. So for me, that's the third text element. And what about you, Go? What do you think the other 2 elements are?
Content. The actual paragraph of a blog, I think.
So what is the last text element, Chai?
I think it's fields where areas can user input their text or data.
So I think that is the question. We have discussed about the 5 text element, which Fidaus has said just now, the titles, the menu, the navigation, the content, and also the link. So now we proceed to the second question, which is about the difference between a symbol and an icon. So give one example each. So I will start with this one. So a symbol and an icon are 2 distinct text elements that we use in the multimedia. And symbol is an abstract character or mark where meaning is assigned rather than visually obvious. So for example, when you write your email, right, you got the at in the middle, there's a symbol, and behind is your Gmail. So that is what we call a symbol. And then the percentage sign that we use in mathematics or any others, those are the meaning of the symbol. So an icon is a small image or graphic that actually resembles the real world objective. And for example, the trash can item on the computer, which is your recycle bin, those are the icons. And the key difference between these 2 is most of us, we can agree on, is that the icon rely on visual, while the symbol is more towards the use of it. You rarely understand the symbol when you only see the visual. So, and this distinction matters greatly in multimedia design because designer choose between these 2 to what they want the user to recognize and what they want the user to see. So do you guys agree on what my point is about the symbol and icon, Fidaus?
Yeah, I agree with you. All your points is really clear.
So what about you, Go? You want anything to add on to my point?
No, I also agree with you. I think that your point is clear and so clear lah.
Okay, so Chai, you also agree to my point, right?
Yes, I also agree. Your point is very clear.
Okay, so now we'll move on to the third question. Why is it harder to read large blocks of text on screen compared to printed material?
So, in my opinion, I think why is this different is because of the resolution and flicker. Also, backlighting, scrolling, and spatial mapping and distraction. Where resolution and flicker is like the resolution between the large block of text and printed material. Even high def screen are composed of pixel and have refresh rate that can cause subtle flickering, leading to eye fatigue. So, what about you guys' opinions? Without
So for me, the resolution is all about the screen that have high definition screen that we can slightly see, and our brain has to work harder to resolve these tiny dots into the recognizable shape. Beside the print is all about the ink of the paper provided in a higher DPI, which is dots per inch. So for me, it's allow the brain to process them almost instantly. That's for resolution. So go, what do you think? You want to add something about this question, number 7?
I agree with you 2 points. So there's nothing for me to add on. So what about Lin? Do you have something to add on?
So I also agree that printed material can see more clearly lah compare to the screen because usually the screen, right, sometimes because the brightness of your screen will affect your eyesight lah, so you're unable to see it well. But if you print it out, you can just bring it to whatever places that have sufficient light for you to actually read clearly about what you written. So this I also agree with it. So right now I think we've discussed through the third question as well, and we will move on to the fourth question. So the fourth question is about what two solution can you use when text is too long to fit on one screen?
Okay, so finally for question 8, which is when dealing with the text that is too long to fit comfortably in a single screen, multimedia designers typically rely on 2 main solutions. So the first solution is scrolling. So this is the most common method today, especially on modern website and mobile apps, where the user swipes or use a mouse wheel to move on the text vertically. Scrolling allows for a continuous and uninterrupted flow of reading. So it is highly continuous and intuitive and keeps the user engaged without forcing them to click and wait for a new page to load. So the next solution, the second solution is pagination. So this involves breaking the long block of text into smaller, separate bit-sized pages. It's much more like reading a physical book. So users navigate through these sections using next and previous or specific page number links at the bottom. So pagination is incredibly useful for organizing a very long documents or articles, as it prevents the user from feeling overwhelmed by an endless wall of text. So it also gives the reader a clear sense of progression and makes it easier to bookmark or return to a specific section. So that's my point. So for Fidaus, anything you want to add on?
So basically, your 2 points is suitable and we can stay in this question. I would like to add 1 point for scrolling. You just said just now, right? So for scrolling, it is best for continuous narrative, and also we can read a blog post. Maybe we can scroll social media feeds all along this. Why? This is best for scrolling. I feel it natural and doesn't require a loading break. Most users are habit in their self with infinite scroll. Besides, design tips also have to insert into scrolling with use scroll bar or a cut off visual where the text is visible, slice at the bottom to hit the user that there is more to see. That's it. So Lin, you want to add something about this question number 8 or Chai?
So I want to talk about the pagination. So that one is actually very useful so that we will not cram all our text in actually one page. We separate it out so that it's easier for others to see and it's also easier to find what is the topic or subtopic that you wanted to talk about. So people actually is more efficient for them to read through your notes or your FYP or any other thing that uses this pagination method, the solution. So this is what we think is very good, and this also able to like help you to make you more easy to do your FYP in the future for us lah. And it's also much more for do all this documentation. It's very important to use this solution as well. So Chai, you want to add on anything?
Yes, I think we can add the overlays and models which it pop-ups. Instead of making the user scroll or go to a new page, we can display the extra text in a window that floats on top of the current screen. It keeps the user in their current context and won't lose their place on the main screen. So, for example, when you can sign up for an app, the terms and service often appear in a scrollable pop-up window, so you don't have to leave the sign up page. So this is my idea. Do you guys want to add more?
So any of you want to add any point to all these 4 questions? Either one? So if all of us have already stated our point and we already discussed about it, we will wrap up our discussion. So to wrap up our discussion, we have covered the 4 important aspects of the text in multimedia. So the first is we identify the 5 elements used in multimedia. That what Fidaus said just now is the menus, the button, the field, the symbol, and icon. And each of them has a unique role in how the user interact with the digital content. So the second, we also clarify the difference between the symbols and the icon. So where the symbol carry abstract assigned meaning, while icon is visually resemble and what they represent like a trash or an envelope. So the third, we explore why large blocks of text are harder to read on screen compared to print. Because this is mainly due to our eye strain and also the low screen resolution and the nature of how we scan the digital content rather than we read it. So finally, we discussed the 2 practical solution and Chai has added another solution for us, which help to users when the text is too long to fit on the screen. So overall, we have made an understanding on how the text function in multimedia, and it is a directly impact of the user experience, readability, and how effective information is communicated in any digital platform. So that is all for our group discussion, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.